is about energy. Everything that I'm going to talk about, everything that I believe the ancients and the mystics have talked about really revolves around energy, whether or not it is then described as things or people or events or lessons, etc. First of all, let me thank you for everybody setting your clocks correctly. I thought about setting my clock back to 1984 and maybe reliving the Olympics. And no, now is always the right time. So thank you for being there. This month, we are doing the theme, the energy of attraction. I decided that since tomorrow, Dr. Deepak Chopra and the esteemed Oprah Winfrey are starting yet another 21-day meditation challenge. Are you all familiar with that? It's free, easy. And I thought, well, why don't we align with them? Because we know that where you put your attention and your energy, things increase and expand and grow. And I thought, let's align with that idea. So I'm borrowing his theme for the month, and we're moving forward today with, I call mental equivalence or mental equivalency, which is a very kind of academic textbook phrase that we use a lot in science of mind, mental equivalence. And I will get onto that. I'll explain that a little bit. So we have 5 Sundays this month, and so I'm going to try and kind of put it all in there with today being the primer to it, to get it all started. And on the 4th Sunday, we've got our Sacred Taizé service that precedes Thanksgiving. And if you're new to us, come on that Sunday, because it's just filled with chants and poems and meditation and prayer. And that's all that it is, and it's wonderful. So we have 5 days. So I'm going to start with a quote from Rumi. "The garden of the world has no limits except in your mind." And I made a decision. Don actually nudged me for this. Talking about no limits, I want to read something that I shared last week, but we didn't have a big crowd last week, and I wanted to explain to you that because we are so unlimited and our outreach is starting to expand, that we have a friend and a viewer in Japan, and he connects with us via YouTube, our Sunday talks that are uploaded. And so we had a little conversation, and I was supporting him in something, and he wrote this, and I wanted to share this because it's to all of us. "Hi, Reverend Duchess. Decided to write an email again since I just finished watching 2 recent versions of your Sunday talks. It was amazing and great synchronism, or coincidence, or meant to be, to hear your prayer on healing at the end of the talk." Smiley face. "Just wanted to write and send you my gratitude. Thank you very much. In the past, I have often wished that I was living in U.S. so that I can visit Chico New Thoughts Center and attend your Sunday service, but it seems that distance is no obstacle these days." Smiley face. "Extremely grateful for your speech work, your husband uploading them, your staff ministers' work, and practitioners. Will keep following via listening to Sunday talks. Best, Nobu Nakatsuma." Oh, so we send light, love, and gratitude to you, Nobu, but I wanted you to just get a sense of, you're talking about energy, the energy that we create in this center through the talks, through the music, through the classes, moves forward because energy is unstoppable. Everything is energy. And so the energy and the technology of the internet now lets our community connect with someone in Japan. I mean, that just, to me, is awesome. Wonderful. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you for allowing me to do. Now, I'm going to go to the internet, and I'm going to define for you the law of attraction. If we're talking about the energy of attraction, it became a buzzword for a while. I think in the last 10 years, the law of attraction, a lot of people talk about it. Well, Wikipedia says the law of attraction is the name given to the belief that like attracts like, and that by focusing on positive or negative thoughts, one can bring about positive or negative results. The belief is based upon the idea that people and their thoughts are both made from, get this, pure energy. Now, I'm taught synchronicity, and that the belief that energy attracts like energy. Now, this is news in history, but we're in California. California author Prentice Mulford was the first to use the term law of attraction in his essays back in 1891. Yeah, I know. I was like so stoked to read that. It's like, because we've been thinking it's all about The Secret and What the Bleep and Abraham Hicks, and if you study science of mind, we talk about mental equivalence and law of attraction. But 1891. Dr. Thomas Troward, some of you are going to groan on that one, who was a strong influence in the New Thought movement, there's a class going on right now about Troward that John's teaching, so they know this. He claimed in a 1904 lecture that thought precedes physical form, and the action of mind plants that nucleus. By the way, he was a judge and very long-winded. Okay. That thought precedes physical form, and the action of mind plants that nucleus, which, if allowed to grow undisturbed, will eventually attract to itself all the conditions necessary for its manifestation in outward visible form. Summarized, law of attraction. It's really about that. It's really about what you're thinking, the energy of your thoughts attracting like thoughts, experiences, people into your vibration, your energy, your experience. Here's a quote from Judge Troward. "My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression, and this means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new and not included in past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth." Yeah. He does get a little full there. So we're talking about a mental equivalent, and truly all that means is what you think, how you feel, is what you're going to experience in the world around you. And that's why Wikipedia in the beginning said whether it's a positive thought, you're feeling happy, you're coming here, it's a gorgeous day outside, you're feeling great, so you're going to have this great experience. Or you woke up and you go, oh, I forgot to set my clock. Oh no, I'm running late. And you mumble things that one does not usually say on a Sunday morning, at least not on YouTube. And then you grab your coffee and you run and you're here. And so you start to experience more things in the external world to match that vibration, don't you? You're driving and then the light changes and you're like, oh, come on. All right, I'm already late. And then you get here, and then just as you come up, and then you want to park, and someone parks in front of you. And so the day continues to unfold like that, and it's matching the vibration, the energy, and the thought that started with the simple when you woke up. And so I'm going to jump the gun here a little. One of the techniques that we talk about here is a mindfulness technique, really simple, which is when you first awaken, when you're ready, even if you suddenly startle up, as we did today when the dog started barking and it was like, what is that? And you just take a moment. Literally all it takes is a moment to get still, get centered, and choose your energy vibration for the day. Choose that you're going to have a good day, even if you know there are all these things ahead of you. What intention you set at the beginning of your day is significant, which is why we also talk about starting your day with meditation and spiritual practice. Whatever your spiritual practice is, that might mean taking a walk. That might mean sitting down in full lotus meditating. It might mean listening to Deepak and Oprah. It might mean any number of things about just saying this prayer. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Let it be rich and full, and let me be of service to all that come into my being. Or let this day be filled with the highest good for myself and all with whom I come in contact. Done. And you go on your way. You are setting the intention. One of the things that I teach in class or in counseling is what I call bookending your day. Starting your day with literally 2 minutes to 45, if you're one of the more seasoned meditators, 2 minutes of setting your intention, of creating a vibration, the energy, and the idea that you want to outpicture in the world, maybe saying a little prayer, and go about your day. Then, at the end of the day, bookend it the other way with a sense of gratitude, giving thanks for all that transpired, blessing. Some of us as kids were told to count your blessings, before you go to sleep, instead of counting sheep. You can count sheep. I consider sheep a blessing. You can count sheep, you can count your blessings, but review your day with a positive eye. If you start to go through the day, it was a beautiful weather day, and I had a great breakfast, and then suddenly the little voice comes in and goes, oh yeah, and then that phone call, and that. Pause, bless it, release it. Don't take that to bed with you. You want to focus on what was wonderful and for that which you were grateful. So you're booking the day in the glory of this truth. So, mental equivalence, the glossary of our Science of Mind textbook, having a subjective idea of the desired experience as we bring ourselves to a range of greater vision than our current concept. The idea being that what you're experiencing in your external outer world is the byproduct of your current or previous thoughts. So if you are looking to change something in your outer world, whether it's a relationship, whether it's the physical body, whether it's work, something about a project, if you're desiring to do that, you have to change the mental equivalent. Instead of every time you walk by the garage that's cluttered and overflowing and messy, and every time you walk by the garage, you go, oh, I really should take care of that someday. And then you leave. You drive and you come back home and you go, oh, there it is. Oh, one of these days I'm going to clean up the garage. And have you noticed that there's this constant, there's almost like a mind chatter going on about those things that are in your head, those things that you haven't shifted and changed? Well, there's a reason for that. Because when you start to think a thought, you create a feeling that responds to that. Some of the feelings are good, some of them are less than good. But what also happens, and this is what we talked about in the brain stuff, that you think that thought, it creates a feeling of anger and frustration and impatience and blah, blah, blah. You start feeling that again, and then you think, oh yeah, it must be true. I don't have the time. I'm overwhelmed. I'll never get that garage done. I don't care. And you start a cycle. And it works the other way too. If you start with a feeling nature, you feel a little apprehensive about something, you go, oh, I don't know, I'm feeling nervous, I'm anxious, I'm afraid, I guess I shouldn't do that thing. I shouldn't make that step or take that risk because I'm feeling weird about this. So the weird feeling sets out a thought. It's almost like a computer. It goes, oh, wait a minute, let's see. That feeling, I remember the last time you felt that. That's the time when you were 6 years old and you went to school and you brought a show and tell project and everybody laughed. Okay, nope, we're not going to try that new project now. I know it's been 40 plus years, but okay, we're not going to do it because you were so embarrassed that day. And you shut down, and the cycle goes on. Because you have a mental equivalent of things that happen in our lives that outpictured in ways good and or not so good. And so that's how you're wired. That's why we want to be rewired to do it differently. That's why we teach mindfulness, meditation, awareness practices so that you are fully present to who you are, remembering who you are, and how you create your activity. We go on. Ernest Holmes says, if a suggestion comes that this is too good to be true, we should treat it merely as the inertia of human thought itself declaring that we've gone as far as we can go. It's a habit pattern of thought, unwilling to surrender itself. Well, I read that one from Ernest, and that one was the one that went to me. Because when I began this teaching in this philosophy, and I started to change my thinking and change my life and really move to a different experience and being, then, when the good things started happening, I got really nervous. I got, sometimes flat out scared, and sometimes so scared that I would shut down. We'd like, oh, no, it's too good to be true. Something's going to happen. The shoe is going to drop. The sword of Damocles is going to come in and whoop, through the whole thing. So I'll just stay status quo. I'll just keep things just the way they are. So my energy, my thought, would recreate the same experience I had because, well, at least I knew it. At least it was comfortable and, in a way, safe. Because when we start to take accountability and responding, responsibility for changing our thoughts, the world is going to change around us. We don't have to wait for the world to change and then we change. We change first. But sometimes that's a little knee knocking. In 1901 to 1912, the New Thought writer James Allen wrote As a Man Thinketh. Then you move up a little bit later, and we all know about Napoleon Hill, who wrote Law of Success and talked about the law of attraction. He also wrote a very famous book way before our time, Think and Grow Rich, 1937, talking about the importance of controlling one's own thoughts in order to achieve success, as well as the energy that thoughts have and their ability to attract other thoughts. So people have been talking about thoughts and energy as the same thing for eons. It's not just the current new thought, Southern California, airy-fairy, new wave, new age stuff. This is serious stuff that a lot of the Eastern traditions have been based upon. Emerson, the transcendentalist, Ralph Waldo Emerson, wrote, "A man becomes what he thinks about most of the time." A man and woman thinks about, he becomes most of the time. Why? Because you're thinking about it, so you're recreating the thought, which creates the feeling, which validates the thought, and then it outpictures. Earl Nightingale, another famous, they used to do Nightingale Conant tapes about positive thinking and changing the world. He wrote, "You become what you think about." And then I'll take you back a little further. In the Bible, Galatians 6:7, it says, "Whatsoever a man soweth, that also shall he reap." And in this context, sowing and reaping refers to your mental states, your thoughts, not necessarily the tangible seeds you plant. And yet your thoughts are seeds that turn into plants, because thoughts are things. Thoughts are incredible tools and power. These beautiful flowers, this podium, none of that would have happened if there wasn't someone who had a thought and an idea about it first. Thoughts are energy, which create and then outpicture. Again, from Ernest Holmes, Creative Mind and Success. One of the most necessary things to remember is that we cannot demonstrate life beyond our mental ability to embody it. I'm going to pause there. We cannot demonstrate life beyond our mental ability to embody it. Meaning, if you go to the wellspring of infinity with everything that is possible, and you stand before that wellspring, and you bring a thimble, because that's all you think you can, or all you think you deserve, that's what you're going to get. So that thimble represents your mindset. Or you can go to the wellspring of infinity and call forth those trucks and go, "Come on back, load it up, come on," and rent a crew and just draw from it. It's about your mental ability and willingness and receptivity to how much you can receive. I go back to Ernest. We give birth to an idea only from within ourselves. What we are, we put into our thinking. What we are, we put into our thinking. What we are not, we cannot put into it. If we are to draw from life what we want, we must first think it forth into life. It always produces what we think. And in order to have success, we must first conceive it in our own thought. This is not because we are creators, but because the flow of life into manifestation, demonstration through us, must take the form that we give to it. And if we want a thing, we must have it within ourselves first, as the mental equivalent before we get it. I was thinking about a book way back. I remember my mom had it, and I was intrigued by it. I always read a lot as a kid. And it was called Psycho-Cybernetics. Any of you familiar with that? Maxwell Maltz. He was actually really ahead of his time. And he talked about all of this, but he also gave reference to the thought. He dealt with a lot of clients who did pre-things in their head to outpicture. And he talked about, I think it was a basketball team or basketball players. And what he had them do was play the game in their heads first. Not on the court, practicing, but in their head, to play it first. And then when they started going back out onto the court or playing the games, the reports, and I don't remember the statistical numbers, it's in the book, I'm sure, the reports came back that they were playing, at least 50% better, winning more, feeling more confident. Because the players that he worked with in probably a meditative way and coaching had the mental equivalent of being able to, what's that called? Shoot? Is that it? I'm sorry, guys. If I used baseball, I could have translated it, but it wasn't in the book as baseball. But the people who would do this thing and dribble and thing. All right. Sports are not my thing. Okay. He used that. He talked about people who went on diets and weren't successful with that. And then they went on diets and they were successful, but then they gained the weight back. And it was because they didn't have the mental equivalent first. They weren't ready to release the weight and be what they envisioned. The same thing, there have been tons and tons of studies about people who win the lottery. And they win these, big, giant, buku rewards, the money, but they're not emotionally ready, even though everyone is going, oh, just give me the lottery, I know what to do with it, I'll do it, oh, money comes my way. They win the lottery, and within 2 years, they've lost it, spent it, and are back to where they started. Why? Because no one has the mental equivalent. Now I'm going to move us into a little more of the mystical side instead of the heady side. The mental equivalent starts with consciousness. Consciousness. Which is why we teach these ideas of meditation, spiritual practice, mindfulness, and awareness, because you are building your consciousness to be able to be clear and confident enough so that you can decide what it is that you desire to achieve, what it is you want to outpicture, and then you begin to have those thoughts, the energetic thoughts of what that is, and the feelings to match feelings of joyous expectancy, feeling of success, feelings of confidence, feelings of, I can win, I'm ready. So that the thought and the feeling match and then begin to outpicture into those ideas, goals, and desires. But consciousness first. Consciousness first, last and foremost. I just saw my bracelet, and some of you are now familiar with Mike Dooley. He's now a very famous author and motivational speaker. And probably about over 10 years ago, he started simply Thoughts Are Things, Tut, the universe. He started out with a t-shirt business. And he wrote positive things on it. And he was an accountant. And he just kept writing this. And he started this interesting small email list on which I was one of the early subscribers. And once a week, because he did it originally once a week, he'd send you a positive message from the universe, or God, or your higher self, or call it what you will, but he called it the universe so that it wasn't sounding too churchy or metaphysical New Age. The universe. We can all relate to the universe. And he would send out a positive message. Well, that led, because he was following his dream, he had a vibration, it began to become successful, and his motto, if you will, is thoughts are things, choose the good ones. It says that on my bracelet, which is slightly fading, but that's what it says. Thoughts are things, choose the good ones. And that seems so basic, doesn't it? Thoughts are things, choose the good ones. Yeah, of course I'm going to choose that. But how many times a day do you go unconscious and you're choosing, even though you don't consciously say, I'm now going to say that I will have traffic and I will be 15 minutes late. I know you don't say that to yourself. But in your head, while you're driving and you become kind of mindless, you're trying to go, oh, that's right, this is Friday night, I'm going to run across, oh no, it's Thursday, that's it, farmer's market in Chico, oh, there's nowhere to park, blah, blah, blah. You're thinking all that and you aren't even aware that you're thinking that until you get clear and mindful, which is why we talk about it all the time, coming back to this moment, this present, being mindful. And then you choose the positive thoughts. Oh, of course I'm going to have parking. Of course I'm going to be on time. And you get to change your experience. And it's kind of an interesting juggling match, because as you change your experience, it changes your feelings. And as you change your feelings, it gives you new thoughts and new hope, if you will. And sometimes it works the other way around. You start out your day the way I suggested to you. You start thinking positive thoughts. This is going to be a great day, the best day of my life. And then you start to feel good. You feel your shoulders down. You're smiling. You run into people you meet. They're smiling. You're feeling good. And you create that feeling. And it continues to multiply in your world. It can go either direction. The point being, that is, if you're mindful, conscious, and aware, you get to choose. And then choose again. And perhaps choose again. More than likely, choose again. Because even when you aren't choosing, you know you're choosing. You know you're making it. You know what it's like. I have Libra rising. I know we don't talk about astrology in this teaching, but if anyone who's ever known me long enough or gone shopping with me, I have that, I have a coupon for that, but that's on sale. And I go back and forth, and not, because it's hard for me to make a choice. It's like, how do you focus and choose? But there are other times when you're doing something, you go, well, I don't really want to call. Well, maybe I'll wait, and you do this, and by not addressing something, you're choosing a thought. You know that. This is you're all mature enough, grown up enough to know that. So if you're already at choice and you're already choosing and your mind's working, choose the good ones. Start to choose the good ones, even if for a while, I'll double dog dare ya, even if for a while it feels airy-fairy, sugar sweet. Oh, I'm thinking positive Pollyanna thoughts. Because watch what'll happen. You'll do that. You'll try that for a while. Then one of the voices go, oh, that'll never work. Are you kidding? Get real. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Really? And you'll listen to that voice, and then you'll feel that thud. And you go, oh, that's right, it probably won't. And your shoulders will droop, and you'll start to droop. And you go, oh, yeah, that's right, I can't, I won't, it's not possible. It's possible. It's possible. You've seen some bumper stickers that say, impossible translate to I'm possible. Nothing is impossible. Unless you think it so. I'll go back to Rumi. The garden of your world has no limits except in your mind. So follow Mike Dooley, who's got his thoughts from the universe, and thoughts are things, choose the good ones. Listen to Judge Troward or Ernest Holmes or Deepak. It's wonderful that someone like Deepak Chopra has come into our experience, because not only is he a wise and conscious man, he has opened the doors of consciousness and spirituality to people who would never have paid attention before. And now mindfulness is, you'd think it's new. People would think that mindfulness and a spiritual practice and awareness is a new thing. It's not. It's pretty ancient. Let's talk Buddha. Let's talk beyond and before that. Whatever it takes to translate it into the vernacular and the culture of who we are today, whatever it takes to take an Eastern concept and Westernize it so that we can actually use it and use it to our advantage, is okay in my book. That is a mental equivalent. That is your spiritual prototype. And that's what Jesus meant when he said we must believe as we pray. Believe, have faith. And here's one that's come up for me lately. Because when the past couple months over the summer, working with all of this, the Joe Dispenza brain stuff, and really trying to rewire a lot of my old programming and changing things. And then I'll get so far, and then my voices will start. No way, Duchess, that's not going to happen. You're too old, it's too late, somebody's already done it. Whatever, all the distracting voices, all the negative voices that discount who I am, where I am in this moment, they start coming up. And then I get all riled and ruffled because, I'm a minister of new thought. I know better. I know about the brain and wiring. I know that thoughts are things. Yeah, but. And, So, fortunately, in my meditative state, there was a reminder, and I'm going to give it to you at the top of the month, and I may repeat it a lot. As you're moving through this, as you're thinking new thoughts, as you're creating your goals and desires and wanting to shift the picture or your worldly experience, again, whether it's body health or work or something like that, and the thoughts start coming up, you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, it's too far, it's too expensive, it's all of the stuff, the committee comes out with all of the proof as to why it can't happen. Get still and quiet, bless it. Don't try and fight it, don't resist it. Be present with it. And breathe with it and go, oh yeah, look at those little voices and goblins. Oh, interesting, okay. Let it be there. And then just simply pray, heal my unbelief. That's simple. Let it be a short, sweet mantra. When you feel yourself start to careen down the rabbit hole, when you feel yourself so far away from the positive intention you set in the morning as you began your day, or maybe it's 7 days into a project that you're trying to do, and you're starting to feel a little apprehensive, or someone comes, usually happens, sometimes you'll get a phone call from a friend or a relative. So what's new? Well, I'm working on this project and da-da-da-da-da. And they go, really? You're going to do that? Didn't you try that already? Didn't we already go through this? And you go, well, yeah, and I'm all inspired and I'm ready and I'm psycho-cybernetically, vibrationally, energetically doing my thing. Yeah, right. Okay, sure. And suddenly you start to go, oh, well, that person's right. Well, that person's known me a long time. Maybe they're right. Maybe I can't. Maybe I shouldn't. Who was I kidding? What am I thinking? And you feel the Jenga sticks start to pull out from underneath the foundation you're building. That's when you get still. Bless that person. Get them off the phone, by the way. Oh, thanks for calling. Love you too. Bye-bye. Bless, bless, bless. Release. Get still. Get clear. Be in present time. Use your breath. You're all seasoned enough to know how to do conscious breathing. Breathe. Get still. And at this point, you don't want to try and pray or affirm from that state of agitation and frustration, because what are you going to do? Create more agitation and frustration. So you want to neutralize. So you've gotten rid of that. You put your present, thy will be done. Heal my unbelief. Boom, let it go. And when you feel grounded, when you feel back in your body, when you feel back on purpose, then you can go back and reaffirm the affirmations you've chosen or the work you've done with your practitioner or yourself in meditation and get back on your track about what you're trying to do. You're starting to program your own thoughts, your thinking to have that experience. But in a pinch, when things get rocky, heal my unbelief. Because really that's all it is. And unbelief is simply separation from your higher self. Separation from God. Again, call it God, call it higher self, call it the force, call it whatever you want. But that part of you, that infinite part of you that preceded you, that is you, that will always be you, which is why we get still in meditation, so that we can hear that, the intuition, the wisdom, that part of you returns and puts you back on course. And says, yes, yes, yes. This is my desire. This is where I'm going. These are my new thoughts. Get comfortable with them. So don't disown the committee. They served you well throughout your lifetime. Just bless them. Be there and get back to the centered being that you are. Abraham Hicks. The law of attraction states, I attract to myself whatever I give my focus, attention, or energy to, whether wanted or unwanted. I'm going to read that part again. I attract to myself whatever I give my focus, energy, and attention to, whether it's a wanted thought or unwanted. If you think about being broke, poor, lonely, and you believe your thoughts, guess what? That's exactly what you'll be. This law, capital L, law, it's a creative, metaphysical, spiritual law, applies to your life and every other person's life on the planet. Like all laws, it is impartial and impersonal, which means it works when you want it to and even when you don't want it to. Dang. You mean the higher power doesn't know that when I say, oh, you look, oh, what's with those wrinkles? Oh, I think you're looking a little chubby these days, and oh, you're really too tired to get up and go and work out at the gym because you think that the universal higher power goes, oh, judges, you're kidding me, aren't you? Come on, get out of bed. It's going to be fine. No, the universal power that is reflecting what you're thinking and feeling goes, oh, okay, you want to be chubby, wrinkled, and lazy? Okay. Okay. Pull up the covers. Don't worry about it. We know how to do this. We've been doing this for a while, haven't we? So we go back. And please, if anyone's beating themselves up, you know, the spiritual 2x4, beating yourselves up because you've gone back ad nauseum. You know, here I go again. I'm thinking differently. I'm going to manifest this. So what? All things, behold, I make all things new. Everything is energy and continues to move. Nothing is static, especially your thought. It's not static. It just keeps recreating. It's like Memorex. It's on 24/7. It just keeps going and going and going. No, that's the Energizer Bunny, isn't it? Wow, what commercials have done to my brain. Television. And they have also created wonderful images, by the way. So you have the opportunity to think and think again, and choose again, and choose differently, choose positively, lovingly, and we're all going to have times where we zone out, Or we're just not feeling ourselves. We're kind of out of sorts. What did they used to call it? Mood rings and things. Your vibration, your biofeedback. It wasn't biofeedback. It was something like they were all off. And you go, well, okay, you're having a day like that. Okay. Can you love yourself through that day? That's a new one, isn't it? Because usually when you have one of those days, you go, oh, here we go again. I told you that if you had done this last night, and you start picking on yourself, which then does what? Starts the cycle again. Oh, so when you catch yourself in the cycle, which is becoming mindful and aware, when you catch yourself in the cycle, go, oh, wow, yeah, look at that. Look what I'm doing again. Ha ha, that's good. Ooh, nice one, Dutch. Okay, shift. Start over. And you'll truck for an hour, 3 hours a day, 2 days, and then suddenly somebody will come in, something will happen. You'll go, screech. Oh, wait. Where was I? Right here, right now. The I am that I am. Norman Bouchard, who's now, I guess, becoming a very new motivational hot name property in the movement, writes, I have a choice in all of this. I can stay in love with my pain and my past, or I can fall in love with my future, which is pain-free. I choose the future. And a couple weeks ago, I said, choose your future from your future. Believe it or not, it was a Werner Erhard quote. Create your future from your future, not from your past. Your past is past, by the way. Even what I said 5 minutes ago, no matter how impactful or significant it may have been, that's then. This is now. Right now, I am connecting with you energetically, individually, and collectively to be here and be present and stand here in the same vulnerability in which you walk your life. And say, these ideas work. The law of attraction is a law, meaning it is impersonal. If you take gravity, which is a law, but I didn't want it to drop. Sorry, it's the law of gravity. The law of mind is a creative law. So what you think and feel, because it is fueled by your feelings, what you think and feel goes into the creative law of mind and starts to outpicture. So you have this glorious opportunity every brand new day. First of all, when you wake up, the privilege of being alive. Oh yes, thank you. Even if there's stuff ahead of you, even if there are things that make you ahead of you. I'm here, I'm alive. I choose this day to be wonder-filled. You get to do that. You get to create that. You get to do that in every brand new day with new thoughts, new vibrations, new energies, and happily you get to do it with like-minded people who are on the journey with you, who they too, each one of us, have those days where we kind of wobble and stumble, sometimes flat down to our knees. And we've got people who go, oh, yes, and lift us up humanly, divinely, spiritually, and say, it's all right. You're up. Keep going. Choose again. Choose a new one. Choose another new one. And don't allow yourself to replay the patterns of the past. Instead, create your future of the future, of that which calls to you, of your heart's desire, which will be probably next week's talk, your heart's desire, so that you're out picturing the world around you that you wish to see and experience, as Gandhi spoke about. So let's close our eyes and do a little process as I wrap us up, please. We breathe in, take a breath, close your eyes to shut out the light, the distractions, the motion. And yes, there is a meditative practice where you have your eyes open, and that can work for some people. I ask or encourage a closed-eyed meditation because if you're like me, look, there's a squirrel. Ooh, chicken, running that way. And you get caught up by all of the activity of the world around you, color, light, sound. And the idea being is that as we close our eyes and turn within, simply being still and quiet, we can turn off the cacophony of sound, the chatter, the mind chatter in our brain, and begin to become still and aware. And in that stillness and awareness, first and foremost, we may just hear the sounds around us. We may have just heard the children. We might hear the hum of the lights. We might hear the rustling of the person sitting next to us with their coat or their clothing. Then we become a little more still and a little more comfortable in that quiet, and we can almost hear our heartbeat and our lungs breathe. And then if we get really bold, really trusting, we begin to hear what is often referred to as the still small voice within. Our intuition, our higher power, call it what you will. But that voice that often gets drowned out by the other voices in our head or the human voices outside of us that are telling us the same old, same old. So we become still, quiet, and we listen for a moment. The garden of the world has no limits except in your mind. In this safe confine of a collective meditation, allow one thought, one situation to rise to the forefront of your mind that right now is giving you difficulty. It may be a situation with a person. It may be a personal task. Just something that kind of, you wish I hadn't asked you to think of. And let it just rise to the forefront of your mind. And if you can, begin to notice where your body starts to react to that. Did you feel a tightening in the gut, a clenched jaw, the shoulders rise? Maybe you suddenly started having your hands turn into fists. Just notice, no judgment. You don't have to change it, just become aware. And then as if you are the observer, as if you could step back from your own body and experience to notice all of that, just take little mental notes of, oh, I see. I thought of that situation and I began to get tense and tight and my breath began to change. Interesting. So I had that thought. And then it created those feelings that feel familiar and uncomfortable. And then that uncomfortable feeling created another thought that said, oh yeah, that again. And then when you started to think about that again, and then you started creating more feelings. So now we're not going to try and fix it, change it, judge it. Just take a breath. Inhale, hold it if you can for 3, 2, 1. Exhale and release and wash away that thought, that situation, whatever it is that you brought forward. And for just a moment, breathe in this present moment, right here, right now. Feel the chair that's holding you, your breath, the sound of my voice. Just be here, present. And from that, now I'd like you to bring forth a thought about a situation that's current for you that you can't wait to do. Something that brings you joy. A project that tomorrow you can't wait because it's your day to go somewhere. Or you get to go home and play words with friends. Or you get to see your grandchildren. Something, a situation, a thing that expand and enlivens you. Be with that for a moment. And then start to take notice how your body feels. A smile probably snuck its way onto your face while you were thinking of it. Your body softened and relaxed. There was an expectancy, a joy, an eagerness about this thought or situation. And so once again, I ask you to step back as the observer, almost put on your white research coat with glasses and a clipboard and look at that. Just notice that when you thought about that activity or person, place, or thing, your body and energy changed. And when it changed and you started thinking about seeing your grandkids and how they run around, and then it created another thought in your head about how, oh, Christmas is coming, I can't wait till we spend the holidays together. And from thinking about happy holiday memories, you started to feel happy, etc. And the cycle went on. Notice that. And now with that same breath, breathe it in and hold it for 3, 2, 1, and exhale and release that image. And be here present now. Not in the past of what we've already shared, not in the future what will take place, but now, in this moment, with yourself. Small s self, ego self, encapsulated in the grand capital S self, the higher self, as one. And then if you can allow yourself to step back again as the witness and take note of how your thoughts created an energy and a feeling, whether it was the difficult one or the joyous, pleasant, looking forward to circumstance. You were at choice. Know within the fabric of your being that that is possible. And that is a muscle that we build together to get strong and flexible so that it's available for you to use. And so now just breathe back into the moment as I end us up with a closing prayer. And I'm going to ask the licensed practitioners of this center if they would just sort of amble their way here or even just stand from where you're seated, because I want you to stand in truth with me as we affirm this for one another. These people who have dedicated their lives to learning and training about prayer, meditation, consciousness, join with me as I affirm this prayer in the first person so that you can say it along with me in your head. There is only one life, capital L life. All paths lead to that life. All paths lead to God. All paths lead to that spirit that is within us. And I am one with that, whether I call it God or spirit or life or nature. I am one with that. I am that. And knowing that I am made of the same stuff as the stars and the moon and the trees, that I am the same joy in the children's laughter. I am in the beauty of the nature that surrounds us. All of that and more, I am as I am one with God. Reminding myself of that, knowing that to be true, therefore I may move into my existence, my life, and this prayer today, naming and claiming mental equivalence of my highest good. Allowing that creative law of mind to work with me as I work with it to choose that which serves me at the highest level possible. And as it serves me to bring me peace, health, harmony, love, and joy, it creates that ability and that possibility for the people around me, in my family, in my work, on my city, in my planet. I am one with that. One with health, vitality. I am one with creativity and divine expression. I am one with abundance and prosperity so that all needs are met by the infinite source. I am one with love in loving relationships. And I am one with peace. The peace that passes the human understanding. The peace that generates from within. All this and more I claim. And I know that individually I may name and claim certain things that I wish to see specifically in my life, but that too will come because, first and foremost, I am building the foundation of consciousness of this infinite truth and wisdom of the ages and claiming it for my own. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How grateful I am, how great thou art, how good it is. And so now I wrap all of this up. And I just take the service, the music, this prayer, and I just release it. Trusting in that higher power, trusting in the universe, and knowing that it is so. And so with that, I ask that you say together with me, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen. It's at this time I bring up one of our trustees to talk about the offering, and then Don will come up as our song leader.